To crochet the Knoll dishcloth. So for this dishcloth, I'm going to be using WeCrochet Dishie yarn. This specific color is called Colonial Rose, but there are so many other amazing colors of Dishie as well. I highly recommend it. And then I'm going to be pairing it with a 4.5mm crochet hook, and I will link both of these things down below in the description box if you'd like to use the same materials that I am. You can also find the links to the pattern, the free pattern, and then also the PDF versions down in the description box as well. We are going to get started with a slip knot. Now this dishcloth measures 8 inches square when finished, and if you meet gauge. However, if you would like to adjust the size of your dishcloth, simply chain any multiple of 4 plus 5. So in this case, I'm going to be chaining 29 stitches. So 24 is a multiple of 4. 4 times 6 is 24. And then I'm going to add an additional 5 chains to that. So 24 plus 5 equals 29. So if you'd like a large dishcloth, chain more. Smaller dishcloth, chain less. So like I said, I'm going to chain 29 stitches. Alrighty, there's my 29 stitches, and we are going to get started with row 1. So for row 1, we are going to place 2 double crochets in the 3rd chain from the hook. So we are going to skip the first 2 chains, yarn over, and place 2 double crochet stitches into that 3rd chain. And then we're going to skip 1 chain and place a single crochet in the next. So I'm skipping this one, placing 1 single crochet in the next, and then we're going to start our repeat. So we're going to skip 1 chain, place 3 double crochets in the next chain. There's 1, 2, and 3. Skip the next chain, place 1 single crochet in the next chain, and we're going to repeat that sequence all the way across. So skip that next chain, place 3 double crochets in the one after it. Skip the next chain, place 1 single crochet in the next, all the way across. You can really get into a rhythm with this stitch, and that is one of my favorite things about it. So again, skipping 1 chain, placing 3 double crochet stitches into the next, skip the next chain, single crochet in the next. Couple more times here. Double crochet 3, skip 1 and single crochet, skip 1, double crochet 3, and then last time skip 1 and place 1 single crochet into that very last chain. And there we go. That is the end of row 1. Now for row 2, we are simply going to work row 2 and then repeat that same exact row up until our dishcloth is a square. So for row 2, we are going to chain 2 and turn. Remember that this chain 2 does not count as a stitch. It simply gets us to the right height to work our double crochet stitches. And then once you get all the way to the end of this row, you will see your chain 2, if I can hold it. If you will see your chain 2 right here. Again, we're not going to work into that chain 2. Alrighty, so I have chain 2 and turn my work. Now I'm going to place 2 double crochet stitches into that very first stitch. I'm going to skip 1, single crochet in the next, skip 1, place 3 double crochets in the next stitch, skip 1, and single crochet in the next, and that's our repeat. So we're going to skip the next stitch, place 3 double crochets into the next stitch, and you can see how it kind of offsets each little hill, if you will. Skip the next stitch and place 1 single crochet in the next. So just like for row 1, I am simply going to repeat that all the way across. 3 double crochets, skip 1, single crochet, skip 1, 3 double crochets, skip 1, single crochet, skip 1, 3 double crochets, couple more times, final 3 stitches here, and then once we get to the very end of our row, you'll see you have 2 stitches remaining, which is exactly what we want. We're just going to skip that next stitch, single crochet into that very last double crochet. And that's it for row 2. So I'll show you how to work it one more time. I'll just show you that repeat really quick. So it starts off by chaining 2 and turning, of course, and then work 2 double crochets into that first stitch, skip the next stitch, place a single crochet into the next, and then this is where we start our repeat. So skip the next stitch, place 3 double crochets into the next stitch, skip the next stitch, and work a single crochet in the next stitch. So you'll just repeat that all the way across. Now I'm going to repeat this row until I have 17 total rows, which will get me to a square. However, if you decided to modify the original stitch count, just work however many rows you need to until your dishcloth is square. And then a good way to know that, let me grab this one here. If I fold this in half and make like a triangle, you can see that it makes a perfect square. Awesome, right? So you could choose to make yours longer if you'd like it to be more of a hand towel or something along those lines. But personally, I really love square dishcloths. So I'm going to work until I have a total of 17 rows, and then I will meet you back here and show you how to finish off our beautiful dishcloth with a nice border. Alrighty, so I just finished row 17 and I am ready for my border. Now if you would like to leave your dishcloth exactly how it is, that is totally okay. Just cut your yarn and leave in your ends and then leave it, you know, again how it is. But for me, I really like adding a single crochet border around the entirety of this dishcloth. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now. We're going to start off by leaving our yarn attached. I just finished row 17. We're going to jump into the border right after this round. So I just placed my last single crochet stitch into the very last stitch of the row. I'm going to add 2 more single crochet stitches into that stitch to form the rounded corner, and then I'm going to start crocheting all the way down the side of my dishcloth. Now you want to be sure to single crochet evenly, and in order to maintain the square shape, you want to keep in mind that it's best to have the same amount of single crochet stitches along each edge. So the way that I like to do that is place 2 single crochets per double crochet and 1 single crochet per single crochet. So I'm going to show you what I mean by that. Right here, for my previous row, I have a double crochet. Now, this is technically a chain 2. It doesn't count as a double crochet in the pattern, but for the edge purposes, we're just going to call it a double crochet. I'm going to place 2 single crochet stitches within that row. So I'm going to place 1 here. And then right here, you can see is my single crochet. I'm going to go ahead and place a stitch into that. But then I'm going to place a stitch into the stitch that I worked that single crochet in. So that's going to kind of count as my first double crochet stitch. And then I'll work into that chain 2, and then into that single crochet, and then into the base of that single crochet. And I'm just going to repeat that all the way down. So feel free to use this technique or look past it. And the main idea, again, is just to single crochet evenly all the way around our dishcloth. So I'm getting to the end here. I'm going to speed up just a little bit to get there faster. Okay, a few more stitches. Alrighty, so I'm going to place a single crochet in that last row, and then I'm to my very first chain. I'm going to work 3 single crochet stitches into that chain, again, to form a rounded corner. And then I'm actually going to work over this tail so that I don't have to weave it in later. So I'm just going to go into the next chain stitch here and work over that tail as well. You totally don't have to do that. I just like to so that I have one less in to weave in. And then for the bottom here, we're just going to work 1 single crochet per chain stitch. And that's including the ones that we skipped of that foundation row. So just be sure to catch every single one. That's going to help this edge be nice and even. And I'm going to drop that tail now. I think it's woven in good enough. And I'm going to continue single crocheting all the way across this edge. And then I'm going to go back up the other side. And then I will place 1 single crochet in every single stitch up at the top here. And I'll meet back here to finish off the dishcloth. Okay, so here I am back at the beginning of my round. I worked all the way around my dishcloth. Now I'm just going to slip stitch to that very first single crochet that we did. And I'm going to grab my scissors over here and cut this tail. And then I'm just going to yarn over one more time and pull through that last stitch. And the last thing I need to do is weave in this end. And I just like to do it on the wrong side and just go through a few of the stitches here to make it nice and secure. It's important to note that dishcloths get constant use and they are, washed and dried frequently. So I recommend going through quite a few stitches just to make sure that that tail isn't going to come undone even after quite a bit of use. Okay, and that should do it. So I'm just going to trim this end, and then I'm going to go down here to where I crocheted over my first tail. I'm going to give that a little tug so that it's all nice and straight under there. Sometimes there can be a few kinks in the yarn when you use that method, just because of gauge differences. So I gave that a little tug, and then I'm going to snip that close to the fabric. And there we go. And there is our finished dishcloths. I hope that you enjoyed this pattern. I hope you found this tutorial helpful and enjoyable to follow along with, and I also hope that you love your finished object. Be sure that I have included all of the links to the materials that I used, the materials that you'll need, and all of the links to the pattern in the description box below, as well as links to my other social media platforms and pattern shops. So just be sure to check all of that out if you are so desired to do so. Be sure to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss out on any future tutorials, and then click that notification bell right beside it so that you get a little alert every time I post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, happy making. Bye!